everybody, and welcome to my channel. Debra Lynn here in the studio. If it's your first time here, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Look at what I have. I got myself some really beautiful Matthiola Incannas and some wax flowers. The little wax flowers are falling apart, the sweet little things. You just touch them and all their little needles are falling off all over. I'm going to do a very easy painting here for you guys. It's going to be very quick. It should be fairly easy for you guys to create. I'm going to keep the composition with the flowers off to the left, and then the wax flowers will be more off to the right. And you can create the wax flowers however you want. I kind of used my branch-like thing that I've been making for a while, and then I knock off all my little needles all over onto my floor, and then I wonder, why is my studio so dirty? Why is there so many flower parts all over? It's because I just threw all the needles on the floor. Anyway, back to what I was saying. If I see something bright and shiny, I get distracted very easily. So back to what I was saying. What was I saying? Anyway, it's going to be very easy for you guys to do this painting. I'm using 100% cotton paper. This is Fabriano Artistico. It is cold press. Okay, it's a half a sheet. And I'm using a half a sheet because I really want to have some movement in my painting. It's hard to do that on a smaller sheet of paper. It can be done, okay, but when you use a large sheet of paper like this, you almost have to put your whole body into it, okay? So when you watch me do this here in a minute, when I start putting down these stems and leaves, I'm using very quick movements, very loose movements, but I'm using my whole arm. Look at, I'm using my whole arm, okay? It's not just my wrist, okay? And I am barely touching the paper. I'm really not pushing that paintbrush onto that paper. It's dancing along the top of that paper. So a very light touch is required for this. So now I do have a mixture of Viridian there. I think I dropped in just a little bit of bright clear violet to darken it up a little bit. And now I have some green gold, and I'm going to drop in a little bit of green gold. These are Mission Gold Magello paints. They are absolutely fabulous. I got my new pure pigment set, and I have them all down in my 55 well palette. It's brand new. You can see it right there. Still have some empty well spots. I'm waiting for those to arrive. Those paints don't arrive for probably another 5 days or so. I've been waiting weeks for them, and I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for your Mission Gold paints. There's been a supply and demand issue. I think a lot of you guys have been buying up a lot of Mission Gold, and everybody's got to get restocked. So hopefully everything gets restocked here real soon. I know there's some issues with the trucking industry right now and everybody getting their stuff. So if you got the stuff on order, you guys are lucky that it's on order. I just hope you guys get it here soon. I know there might be some delays, but just be patient and use what you have. If you don't have Mission Gold, use what you have. So I'm just going around and I'm just kind of loosening up some of the edges, you guys. I don't loosen up all the edges, and I want to retain open white spaces. So I don't close all this in with pigment. Don't close it down. And when I start this painting, the other thing you guys need to know is this is on a dry piece of paper. Don't wet your paper first and soak it all and then go do this. You're just going to have a big diffused mess, okay? The paper eventually slowly becomes more and more saturated with water, and things become start loosening up as I paint. Okay, I don't start loose and build up to strength. You know, I start strong, it loosens up, and then I might add some more strong, okay, in pigment. If you understand, I hope that was understandable what I just explained. So now I'm just dropping in some darker pigment here, just making some stems. And I was making some little sections. I wasn't making one full stem. I kind of made sections of the stem, and then I didn't like it. So that's what you see me loosening all that up, because I didn't like the whole thing that I was doing. It just, it didn't go down quite right. So I have to kind of loosen it all up. So far that left-hand side of that paper is pretty wet. The right-hand side, that's all dry over there. And from the green up in the left and right side, no, up all that, not left, yes, left. The whole left side there has got a slight green tinge to it. You guys, there for a split second, it changed because I ended up drying that left-hand side of the paper because I wanted to go in and start putting the flower heads down, and it was just too wet. So I did a little bit of blow dryer work on it just to dry my paper a little bit so I could keep moving with you guys. So you might want to dry your paper so it doesn't bleed out, okay? So right now you can see I'm using a very light touch, and I'm holding that brush very loosely. And I'm just dropping in some shapes of those flowers, using the side of my brush. I'm not even using the tip of it. I'm using the side of my brush. Again, light touch, barely touching the paper. And even if the shape is looking wonky or weird, I'm not worried about that, because once things start flowing and water's going, it's all going to change. So I'm just kind of putting general shapes down right now. Now I've got the red violet going in. I'm just building a different color into this. So now I have the bright clear violet and the red violet. Then for the center, sorry, I'm making noise here with my sheet of paper here. I'm going to be using a new color that I just got in my new paints, and that one's Enderthrone Blue. Oh my goodness. There it goes. It's going down right now. And what it's doing, it's really boss. No, it's not Enderthrone. That is, I'm still don't have the Enderthrone down yet. That's still bright clear violet that I'm using. I'll use that blue here in just a minute. But the minute, I think I'm getting it right now. Okay, I've got it right now. It pushes the pigment. It just pushed all that violet out of the way and said, I'm in charge. I'm here. I'm going to take center stage. This stuff is hands down fabulous. I love that color. So if you guys got that in your, if you've got that in your set, please pull it out. Please put it in your painting somehow. You're going to just love it. It's so beautiful. And now I'm just going in, I'm just kind of just lightly loosening things up It's just a wet brush, kind of blending things out just slightly, loosening just some of the edges. As you can see, I'm not going around that whole thing, I'm just going around certain areas. Making sure my brush is nice and clean. I have 3 containers of water, 1, 2, and then I go down. Sometimes I'll go 1, 2, 3. So, and now I just have some 1-ply paper, and I'm just going to pick up just a little bit of pigment. I just softened that up just a little bit there. It gives me a little bit of high and low values that just makes the flowers feel translucent, because flowers are translucent. They're not, you can see usually if you take them and put them up to the light, you're going to see right through them. So there is translucency to flowers. So your flowers, you don't want them to be just solid things of color. You're going to have translucency in them. So you can do that by putting that 1-ply paper on there and just kind of lightly picking some of that pigment up off the paper, and it will give you that translucency that you need. Okay, so now I have, let's see, which one is that? I've got Cobalt Cerulean Blue, and I'm making a very thin wash of it and kind of spreading that out all over the side of the paper, leaving some areas dry, not making the entire section wet. There's, again, some of the sections are dry. Some of them, of course, will be having this light wash of Cobalt Cerulean Blue. And that's number 626 in the Mission Gold line. And when that paint kind of separates a little bit with the water, it looks like it has just a little bit of kind of a violet in it. So it worked really beautiful with this painting. So basically this light blue background is going to end up being my very atmospheric background. I want it to just feel very spring-like, just make it kind of, like somebody said in my group, they said it looks ethereal. It does. It's got a very ethereal feel to it. And there is some more pigment going down. And now I have my quill. This thing's a workhorse. And then now that is, I have the first layer down. Now that sprinkling was my second layer. And then I'll build off that. So the background is pretty much layers of tea consistency. I do get a little heavier with the Cobalt Cerulean Blue. bright clear, nope, that's red violet. Just adding in some more depth. And using a little bit larger brush now. Now I'm just going to take that quill and shake this into the painting. And what that's doing, you guys, is it's bringing the eye from the bottom left up into the top right and kind of connecting the, the, the flower that's sitting there off to the left. It's kind of connecting the background with the actual piece. And now I'm just dropping in some more of that blue. I'm just intensifying the depth. And I'm just picking up a little bit of pigment where I felt like it just needed to be lightened up just ever so slightly. And I'm getting my Dr. Peach Martin Bleed Proof White out here, and I have my quill in my hand. I loaded it and then I dipped it a little bit in the water, and now I'm shaking it over that main area of my painting. And what that's going to do is it's going to start dispersing into the pigment that's already on the paper. So it will give those petals on those flowers that translucency look also. It gives really beautiful high and low values without having to do all that hard work. And now I'm just not really liking the white dots on the green stems, so I'm kind of loosening them up a little bit, but still allowing them to still be on some of the stems here. I just wanted to back off a few. And then I ended up, there was a break there in my videotaping. I ended up just drying things just a little bit here with the blow dryer. I'm just doing some stem work here. I was checking the paper there for dampness because I do want to add, oh, I made a big white spot there. I wasn't thinking. So now I'm going to have to fill that back in because there's a big white spot. Just taking a little bit of that cerulean, making a light wash, and then I'll just shake it over it, and ta-da, it's gone. And got some peach martin now to the side, putting it on my palette, and then just taking a little bit of the red violet and mixing it in to create, here I'm showing you, I've got the little peach martin now, a little bit of the red violet, and it makes like a gouache-like consistency. It is not gouache, it's watercolor, but it's very opaque. I did reach out to Dr. P.H. Martin Bleed Proof White, and I had a conversation with one of the owners and talked to them about Bleed Proof White and if it is in fact a watercolor, and they said, yep, for the last 80 years, that's what it's been known as in the industry. It is just pure pigment and water. So he says, do not put it over acrylic because it will crack. It is intended for as a correction material for their ink and watercolor lined. So it will cover all that up, but it will not work with acrylic. And there's some of that bright clear violet going down. And I'm just making another flower head here. I just felt like I needed one more. And a little red violet in there. Just kind of making it work with the other ones. And shaking that red and red violet onto the paper there also. And that will disperse into the painting also. Now I do have that cerulean blue going down in a nice thick consistency. I wanted it to be that way. I liked a surprise pop of color. And because cerulean is in this painting, very light consistency in the background, to do that stronger cerulean closer, I think just draws you in. And it keeps everything cohesive and all the colors work together. And I didn't particularly like this area, so you see me kind of just trying to fix that and remove what I put down there. A little bit of P.H. Martin was dropped in there also. And now I have a strong consistency of green over here to the side. It does have a little bit of red violet going into it right now. So it gives it a little bit more of a brown kind of color instead of so much green. I wanted to change it up slightly because if I looked at those twigs that were on the wax flowers, they were not green. They kind of had a brown color to them, but not so brown like you're grabbing a Van Dyke brown. I am making my own brown with the colors that are already existing within the painting. So there is color harmony happening. And of course, these don't look like the wax flowers. They look like all the twig things I've been making for the last month. Can't help myself, you guys. I'm still on this, whatever this is. I don't know what this is. This is just pure Debra Lynn. I'm supposed to be making wax flowers and they're turning out to be something else. But because I'm kind of working a little bit intuitively here too, although these flowers are kind of supposed to be directing me, you can see that I don't play by the rules very well, not even the rules I set for myself. And I just do just a little bit there in that upper left. I don't want to do too much because then it feels like it's overworked. So right now I'm getting my P.H. Martin out, and I'm going to make another thing of some P.H. Martin and a little bit of the red violet, and mixing a very soft pink color and just shaking that out onto my paper and letting it fall into that twiggy area. I want it to look like those little wax flowers are coming into play without actually painting little white flowers. I'm letting the little dots be the white flowers. So it kind of gives the illusion. Now I'm just randomly dropping in just a few here and there. Very light touch, barely touching the paper. And I shook just a little bit of that mixture of P.H. Martin and red violet over the top of the green also, so they're kind of a couple of those soft pink spots will sit on the surface there, which I kind of like. And what I like about it too, because it's a watercolor, but it's very opaque, I mixed it with a little bit of that violet. It's just so pretty. It's all of a sudden you've got all this translucency, but then you do have these spots that are not translucent and they're very opaque. So it's really, there's a cool juxtaposition between the two, and I really like it. I'm definitely going to do a little bit more of this mixing. I've always been afraid of mixing, but then I had that conversation with one of the owners of Dr. P.H. Martin, and it says that you shouldn't mix it, but then he says you can mix it. So I'm now going to mix it. I feel free enough to mix it. Okay, you guys, well, this is it. This is my painting. It was a quick, easy painting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For now, be safe out there, stay well, and may God bless you guys. And until next time, bye for now.